Suzdalev tries the miss again, scores! Alexander Suzdalev pulls off the Michigan. There it is, the lacrosse-style goal, and that was marvelous from the magician himself, Alexander Suzdalev. Bedard picks it up top, dangles his way to the left side, holds onto the puck. Bedard behind the net, stops down low, shoots, scores! What an absolute beauty by Connor Bedard! Short side from an impossible angle. How did he just do that? That was from behind the net. He flipped it off the goaltender's back and scored. Here's Bedard, Hill gains center. Look at him go in over the Winnipeg line on Sward, and he got pushed off it. Back to Svozil in the slot. Score! Stanislav Svozil with his 6th of the season. It's a 2-on-1. Here's Mateo Michaels. Left side stops up in the slot, and it's loose. They score! It's Braden Barnett right on the doorstep.
Welcome to Pat's Cast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast, with your hosts Chris Clark and Kevin Shaw. It's February 20th. It's episode 131, the Family Day weekend, long weekend. It was a decent weekend. Looks like we got some cold weather rolling in, but hey, we got lots of hockey to talk about, don't we?
Yeah, it ended up being an okay end to the weekend, but the first part of the weekend wasn't the greatest.
No, not at all. So 3 games in 4 days. Started in PA. We talked about this game last week. It was kind of a must-win, I think, wasn't it?
An almost must-win, yeah. It's one of the games that should have been quote-unquote winnable, I guess you want to say.
Yeah, there's games with the Winnipeg game coming up on Saturday night. You're in PA Friday. They're below you in the standing. Well, they're tied with you in standing now, but it's a game you need to have to keep them at bay and pick up points, because the Winnipeg game was going to be tough. The Lethbridge game was going to be tough. So you're like, you got to get this. You got to get these 2 points here. And, I mean, nothing's given. The Pats came out and played
probably one of their best periods of hockey in the first period in PA. It was great.
It was really good, right? You get a goal late. Bedard scores that one late, so you got a 2-1 lead going into the second period. But
3-1 lead.
Sorry, 3-1. Yeah, you got a 2-goal lead going into the second period, and it's just like, okay, they played well, but the wheels just fell off. I mean, it was real tough to watch. I mean, the last 2 goals that PA scored, it was just total team defensive breakdown. Total
letdown.
Yeah, like it wasn't
their second period goals all came within like 4 minutes of each other. It was just bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Seemed to deflate them for a
bit.
Yeah,
2 power play goals like a minute apart. Like, that's tough. Penalties, some poor defensive play. It was a recipe for disaster, and it turned out to be that. And they couldn't tie it up late even just to get to overtime and steal a point. But I mean, they didn't deserve a point after playing only 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, but like the first 20 minutes, if we only counted the first 20 minutes, awesome.
Yeah.
The last 40 minutes, not so awesome.
Not awesome at all. There's lots of highlights from that game. I mean, Suzdalev finally pulls off the lacrosse goal. He's been trying that for a while.
He had so much time to do it, and he put it in. It was good.
It was pretty.
It was nice to see.
Not easy for him, but the goalie even started going the wrong way, and so he had lots of room up there.
Hildebrand didn't even look like he was expecting anything like that.
Not at all. The Tanner Howell goal, the second goal of the game. What a pass by Bedard from the point all the way back door, and he just taps it in. That was beautiful. I don't remember the first Bedard goal, the 49th. Or was that the one off the back? That was, the 49th, the 3-1 goal. That was off the back from behind the icing line.
Yeah. I had to think about it. That's the one.
I know, so long ago, right? 3 games ago.
Such a smart play.
Oh, I know. Like, I've seen it happen. I've seen guys bank it in like that. Like, I'm not saying it's a really good goal, but it's always been low. Like, you can sneak it by the guy's leg, or if he's if he's off the post a little bit. But for him to go off his like shoulder and in like that's the impressive part. To get it up quick and get it off the back of his shoulder, off his back and in the net, that was the impressive part.
when I saw it live on WHL or CHL TV, I was like, how did he score that?
And I was like,
And
right
they
away, bank shot. Like, yeah, I saw
And it
it.
was like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
bank.
there it is. Right.
It was good.
Yeah, and then he scores his 50th. I mean, we all knew it was coming. 50 goals, 40 games. That's impressive in its own right.
Especially nowadays in this league. It's
Yeah.
great. It's amazing.
Yeah. You only see a guy or two maybe score 50 in a season nowadays. Like there's always, there's guys pushing to 50 or get a 50 here and there, but 50 and 40 that's impressive.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Yeah, then he gets an assist on the next goal after his 50th, so for 100 points as well in 40 games. That's outstanding. But
what else is there to say?
I know, right?
I think pretty much everything has been said about his game, so there's not much else to say.
No, not at all. But unfortunately, the loss, that was a tough loss,
That was 2 points they needed to get.
Exactly. But I mean, heading in, then he turned around right into Winnipeg. That's going to be a tough game, and it ended up being a tough game.
Here against Winnipeg, not into Winnipeg.
Oh, yeah, here. Sorry, going into the Winnipeg game is what I meant to say, but
yeah, I know.
But again, another pretty good first period. Even a
solid start.
Yeah, pretty decent second period. Maybe in that first period, Pine wants that McLennan goal back. It just like went through his glove, and the unfortunate part, seconds before that, I think it was Spencer. Was it not? He had a wide open net, and it just went wide. It was just like
missed it by like 4 inches.
Yeah,
something like that. It was close.
And then of course it comes down the other way, and it's in the back of the net. It's just like just a tough one.
It happens so many times.
Yeah. And then Barnett gets his first of the year in that second period right after. So you're like, okay, back on it. The fourth line scores a goal. Some great work. A nice little play by Mateo Michaels there. He kind of cut into the slot, let the guy slide by him, and gets a shot on net. And Vaughn and Barnett are both jamming there, and they get a goal. So nice to see the fourth line chip in there, and then Bedard gets a shorthanded goal. So then you're looking at a 3-1 lead, and then boom, right away they turn around and score on a power play. And then the third period happens.
They had a lead going into the third. I was happy they had the one goal, but a 1-goal lead against this team is nothing. Is nothing. No, not at all.
Right. They score they scored the goal in the second, and then they scored 4 straight to start the third. And
when they scored that first goal in the third with like a minute and a half in,
yeah,
it was over.
Here it comes.
You could see it kind of going.
Yeah,
Winnipeg started playing Winnipeg hockey, and
I think it was the next one, the Savoy goal unassisted. I think that's another one Pine kind of wants back. It kind of snuck between his arm, and it was on his leg, and it was there, and Savoy jams it home, or whatever happened there on that play. But it was like, Pine played well. Like, he's been put in some tough spots, but he played well this game. And, he makes that McLennan save, and he makes that Savoy save. It could have been a different game.
Yeah, it's the Winnipeg curse.
Yeah, right. I mean,
the Pats have the Winnipeg curse.
The Winnipeg flu, or whatever you want to call it, right? But yeah, it's just like it was there. It was pretty close to happening, but then it wasn't close, right? Then they just blow it open, and it just goes downhill. But he's been put on some tough spots, and he's responded pretty well. Like it says he gave up 7 goals, but I mean
6
or 6
it was
goals.
Empty netter,
right. But he played solid, I thought.
He's played Winnipeg twice, Red Deer and Seattle, and Brandon. He came in Brandon. So.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like he's playing some of the bottom end teams or anything like that. He's playing the top.
Yeah, like he got thrown into that Winnipeg game without Bedard. I think without Svozil, maybe 2, and I mean it was a 6-0 loss. I mean that was the Pats didn't have anything that game, and then he's on the road trip in Alberta. He plays real well in Red Deer. I mean, did that one go to overtime? Yeah, that one did go overtime. So he gave him a chance to win that game and stuff like that. So young guy getting thrown into some tough spots.
Very tough spots.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Seattle game, the team was depleted again. No Bedard, no Svozil, and that was a tough one. But I mean, he's here obviously for the season, and he's going to get better. Well, he should get better, right, with this experience.
He's good. He just needs more time, but it's Sim's load to carry right now. So
yeah, and that's totally understandable. And then they get the day off, and then into Monday, Lethbridge. We've seen Lethbridge, just recently on the road. We kind of knew what kind of game they play. Real tough,
very tight checking, tough playoff style.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be another low-scoring game. And it's almost like the Pats can play that game, right? Like they can't keep up with the Winnipeg and the run and gun style. They just don't have the depth there. But Lethbridge, like I said before, it seems like they're playing the underdog style because they don't. They've got guys that can score. Like you look at their lineup, there's a few guys that can put the puck in the net. They have better depth than the Pats. They just don't have that top end skill like the Pats do, and it was pretty tough checking. And I thought maybe John would get away from the Arnston-Pauls matchup with Bedard, but he said he was fine with it. He didn't mind it, and the one time he does get away from that matchup, Lethbridge actually scored.
Yeah.
So it kind of backfired in his thinking there, but the top line scored 2 goals. So I mean they found a way to score this game, and I mean Sim was solid. Like he was real solid tonight. He didn't really make any outstanding saves per se, but he was just solid back there, wasn't he?
Oh, for sure. He played one of his best games of the year, but definitely stepped up.
Yeah.
Made up for Friday night in PA, where I'm sure there might have been a couple goals that he maybe wanted back, maybe wanted a little help from the D. But he played well, made 28 saves, keeps on going.
Yeah, and he knew it was going to be tight, low-scoring game, so he obviously he's focused every game, but he was like, he talked about that after the game, and he's like, I have to be there for the team. Obviously, he has to be there for every game, but I mean, it was really in the back of his mind.
He made the saves. He made the saves he needed to make.
Yeah, exactly. Like was it the Edwards goal? That was both of them were pretty nice goals, the Jones and the Edwards goal. Like, I mean, you couldn't really blame him on those. There was some pretty good shots.
Yeah, the Jet Jones goal where we got dual play-by-play calling, Forbesy on our left and Cowell on our right from the access. You could hear them both say "bar down."
Yeah, yeah.
Within a matter of like a second of each other. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, John kind of mentioned it was the responses, right? Svozil scores 22 seconds after the Jones goal, and Whitehead scores 2.5 minutes after the Edwards goal. So that was he's like, it was key, to get that response right away and not let Lethbridge get into their game, right? You're up a goal, they're going to start playing defensively even more, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, and then in the third period, like it was a much better third period, like the best third period of the weekend, obviously. And you see the third line / fourth line kind of all mishmashed, and Rowan scores a goal there. Mateo Michael's in on another goal, 2 games in a row for him. That's nice to see. And John mentioned his name as well. He's like, I like his speed. He that brings. We need that. He brings that to the table. We need to see that, right? And he got some more ice time. Like they kind of mixed up that third line, and it was kind of querying, and Michael's getting a opposite shift here and there on that third line.
And having Spencer back into the lineup has helped the depth. I don't know what he'd be top 9 or whatever he is, but he can fit a different role, and he's got an offensive instinct, and he's got 4 points in his 4 games since coming back. So it's good to see.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Any other thoughts on the weekend? Like what those games?
Monday's game was a sellout, which was nice to see again. The Winnipeg game wasn't. It was over 6,000, but it was nice to see against Winnipeg. But yeah, not much else to say. It was overall, even though they only picked up 2 of 6, the weekend ended pretty well.
Yeah,
can't really complain how it ended. They played a really strong game on Monday. They just need to carry it over, do something against Medicine Hat, and then go from there.
Yeah. Two is okay. Like I said, would have really liked 4 points
For sure.
But it is what it is. I mean, you look at the standings now, and there's 3 teams tied here. What do we got here? We got Pats, Hitmen, Tigers, 55 points. So they're all tied for 6, 7, 8. So, obviously we've talked about Calgary. They're in a tough stretch.
Yeah, they're 1-7-1-1 in the last 10, so that's rough.
Yeah, Medicine Hat's rolling 6-1-3, and we just recently seen them. One other thing from the weekend, Vallis out. He didn't play the Winnipeg game, and he wasn't question marked. It was
he took the warm up. He was in the warm up for sure.
Yeah, like it looked like he was in the lineup. It was either going to be Michaels or Jackson Vaughn. Kind of scratched, and all of a sudden Vallis didn't play.
Yeah.
So and then today he was out for sure in the Lethbridge game. So that's a little bit of a tough loss there. So there's a little bit of some line shuffle going on. Suzdalev started on the top line today against Lethbridge, but then they moved Stringer up and stuff. But hey, they got the job done. After Monday's game here, we got some comments from John, Stan, and Drew Sim. So we'll listen to those now.
Well, I thought it was a pretty hard and intense, tight played game. We're sort of different styles of teams, but we seem to play this type of game when we play each other. At least for us, we seem to play a little bit, different game, a little bit tighter, a little bit not necessarily more conservative, but just a little bit more defensive, I guess. Well, I thought we were better in the third period than we were the other two. I thought, we weren't giving up much, we weren't getting much, especially in the first period. I thought probably with what you said of the ebb and flow, I thought the key play was, when they go up 2-1 is to tie it, shortly after. That was and Stan's goal after the first goal. I just rephrase that. We came back from the 1-goal deficits quickly each time. Hey, you'd always like to be able to do that. It doesn't work that way, and sometimes you maybe score at the end or you don't score. But in this type of game, I think it was important that we were able to reply quickly. It just sort of was like we were never behind. Whereas if you get behind a team like Lethbridge for a period or so, they really get into their game and it's hard.
What did you think of the third/fourth line tonight? Rowan got a goal tonight again. It seemed like they had quite a bit of good play in the third, especially.
Yeah, well, we went down to 3 lines in the third. They played good. Mateo Michaels stepped up when I gave him a chance, and sort of off the fourth line in the third period, alternated him and Steele a little bit, and I thought he was really, quick, and his skating was a benefit for us. Stan's like it's an extra wave of attack when he's out there. He comes from a little bit late, and not that he's a goal scorer, but people that score the goal come late. If players understand that. If you're the third man in a forechecking thing, you're usually the goal scorer. That would be the best. You're not. The other guy's got a screen and stuff, but on his goal and on the play where he sets up Howie, the rush is. I think Bateman made a great pass to Connor. We're breaking out of the zone 3 abreast, and then Stan comes fourth. And on the goal, Connor's carrying it in. Comes late behind him, so. He has great ability, and when he can join the rush, you often get an odd-numbered situation.
How do you prepare the guys to take Connor Bedard's passes? I believe the drop pass to Stan. How do you?
I think he actually lost that. I do. Stan, did Connor lose that puck or did he drop it to you on the goal?
I think so.
He lost it, yeah.
I was going to give him credit for a lovely drop back.
He passed it to me, but I don't.
Yeah. We'll check the replay.
Is that something you've worked with, Stan? Times to jump up, or is that just all just instinct?
No, sometimes it's stay back, Stan.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's stay back. In today's game, you need that type of defenseman, at least one of them on your team, that can break a game open, can change it, has the ability to score.
On Medicine Hat, obviously they're really, really rolling. What's kind of the key there on Wednesday?
Well, be ready to play and play 60 minutes, and we had a lead on them and we really let it get away. And then in Medicine Hat, actually we didn't play that bad, but more pucks went in our net. So they're fast. They're a young Portland. They're going to be a dynamite team in a couple of years. It's a completely different game than this. Like it's more track meet end to end. But in saying that, if you don't have numbers back, then they have an odd number and it's going to be trouble. So I actually hope the game is like 3-2 again. That's what I hope.
I'm happy to be here, and I think it's really good for me to be in North America for 2 years and teach or learn new hockey style here.
How do you think your game has progressed over the 100 games?
Yeah, I think a lot. My offense is better than last year, I think. Defense too, but I still have to improve my defense. My let's say gap wasn't super good, but last couple of games that's better, and I think that's it. And maybe moving with puck and skating with puck, that's what I improved to.
What's it like to have John as a coach that has so much experience?
That's amazing. I'm really happy he's our coach. He was in NHL for a couple of years, so it's amazing.
Talk about that goal that you had with Connor. You think he slipped off his stick? It looked like a beautiful drop pass.
Well, yeah, it looked like a beautiful drop pass, and he told me, I wanted to pass you, but I don't think so. He wanted to pass me, so but he passed me, right? So good.
When you're on the ice with Connor, do you have to be prepared for everything that he's going to throw at you? You have to be on your very tip of your skates. What's he's going to do?
Well, when he's on the ice, I'm every time ready, because he can pass too from everything. And I'm ready every time for his pass or for his shoot or for his moves. So if he's doing something, some moves, I'd rather stay behind him, because not every time that works, right? So yeah. But if we're in an offensive zone, I think we're very dangerous. Not just him and me. Let's say Alex Susda left too, Tanner Howe, this line, and we are very dangerous in offensive zone, I think.
What are you kind of looking for going down the stretch here?
Exactly what tonight was. I think we played a very good playoff-style game. They always tend to drag us into those, and we've answered this year. So if we can play like that and win 3-2, 4-2 games, that'll do nothing but get down the stretch and hopefully go on a little run here and get in the playoffs and win a round or two.
All right, so a few things off the ice. First of all, Pat signed Cruz Chase, a goalie out of Airdrie. Obviously not many people see these players play, but you just look at his stats. His stats, obviously they don't look good this year, but he just turned 15. He's a late birthday, October 16th. So he's playing under 18 as the season started. He was only 14. But you go back to his under 15 season, 213 goals against and a .925 save percentage. That's pretty solid.
A 14-2 record, which
playing in his age group, right? So obviously moving up to that under 18, that's a big jump, right?
And he's, according to Elite Prospects, he's already got decent size, 5'11", 161. So he's not a small goalie.
No,
which might help him.
Yeah.
in the long run.
And I mean, in the news release there, the Pats said they liked his game, so good athletic ability and potential to grow physically. So obviously, that's really all you got to look at, right? Because
exactly, for
it's
sure.
just projecting, right?
And the fact now they've got the third string goalie.
Yeah.
Just in case Pine or Sim get hurt, they got a kid that's
signed and
their
property kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says really good kid who works hard and competes to stop pucks. So, and I don't think his team either is very good at that other under 18 level.
But hey, I watched him a little bit. I watched all of training camp, and for against the rookies, he did pretty well. You can't really judge that because it was training camp. So
yeah,
welcome aboard. I'm guaranteeing a lot of people are gonna mess his name up because Chase Cruz. So yeah. I'm sure that's gonna happen a lot.
Yeah.
So be prepared if you're listening to this, Cruz. You might get your name butchered multiple times, even by us.
Yeah. Yeah, then Saturday night. So obviously it was the cancer awareness night. And some nice jerseys, weren't they?
Yeah, they were nice. I decided to put some money on one, and I ended up with Parker Bergs. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, they were nice. Obviously they haven't had this night in a while, and they've had some pretty nice jerseys in the past.
And seeing the Pats without any blue or red in their jerseys is unbelievable. It's weird.
Right. It was always blue and pink or, they always had base blue, but to go black and purple, I mean, it doesn't look bad at all. I thought they were pretty well done. And I mean, I think there was lots of input by 22 Fresh. They always have some cool stuff and they have some good ideas there.
I'm glad I got mine.
Yeah. No, it does look good. And I guess you look at the jersey auction, you got one at a decent price. Bedard's only went for $8,000.
Only.
Yeah. Pretty crazy, but
it was funny before the game, someone accidentally put $650,000 on the jersey.
Yeah.
That was funny. I was like, someone really made a boo-boo. And then 20 seconds later it was changed, so that was funny.
It must have been up there for a little bit because we both seen it and it was like,
okay, maybe a minute or two.
But obviously they must have maybe retracted that bid because that was
or they saw like $650,000 wrong.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, again, some good money going to a good cause. Yeah, and then kind of a sad note on Saturday. Obviously, if you haven't heard, Rob Vanstone, it was his final day at the leader post. It's been a nice to get to know him. Like, obviously we just met him, recently and sitting with him at games and his knowledge of the Pats and its history, or seeing all these players that we haven't seen and stuff like that, and him telling the stories, like it was. I'm gonna miss that part of it, right? Just having a guy to talk about Pats hockey.
He's the only person I can really discuss or talk about old hockey Pats.
Yeah.
Like we had a discussion. We had a discussion about Bernie Germain, how to spell his last name, for like a month, and then we finally figured it out. So something like that, I don't have anybody I could talk to about that other than Rob Vanstone.
Yeah, no, I mean he did great work, not only covering the Pats, but some Rider stuff, obviously, and then he really liked doing the high school stuff and kids,
all the local stuff, yeah,
all the local stuff. So that's going to be missed. Like, I don't see, the next person's going to have that passion for that kind of stuff. Like the
next person's only going to be there for one more game after today's.
Well,
or two
apparently,
more games,
right? So we don't even know who the next person is going to be. But I mean, the way the newspaper industry is going, like, you got to find someone passionate enough to do that, and then is the paper going to even, like, you come down to it, is it even going to be around much longer, right? The sports coverage is going to be pretty lacking.
Yeah, especially when they have such an early deadline, they can't really even do. They couldn't even cover today's game for tomorrow's paper because the deadline is so early. It just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, That's the physical,
the print version.
Yeah, the physical copy. I mean, there isn't. That's almost going by the wayside.
There are a lot of older people that still read it. It's unbelievable that you see people at Safeway and stuff buying it all the time. So
I'm standing in line at the co-op gas station getting gas for work. It's usually a lineup. I'll grab the paper and take a glance at it, but.
The 4 or 5 pages.
Yeah, right. It used to be so thick. Like, I remember the weekend used to be so thick, right?
Yeah.
And now it's just a shell of itself. But yes, that's unfortunate. But he's on to bigger and brighter things with the Riders, doing what was his title, like lead journalist,
senior journalist and historian or something like that.
So he's going to be diving into the history stuff, kind of like you do for the Pats. He sounds really excited about that. So that's awesome to see.
Now he could go to Pats games and actually enjoy them.
Yeah, just sit back, relax, cheer, do all that stuff, and just enjoy it as a fan, and not a job. Not that that's the bad thing. He gets paid to go watch hockey games. Like that's that's not the worst thing, right?
That's true, but this way now he doesn't have to worry about getting the goal times right and stuff like that. He can just watch the game and enjoy it.
Yeah, he can go with some friends and watch some hockey.
Today was his first game since 1987 that he went to a Pats game that he wasn't actually working at the leader post. Yeah. That's pretty wild.
It is, yeah.
I was only 9. If you're listening to this, Rob, I was 9 in 87.
Yeah, I was a little younger than that. But.
And you made your Pats broadcast debut in the intermission.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise, but appreciate Dante asking me on, and so I had a nice little chat with him and Drew Posty on Saturday, and we covered a little bit of the history of the podcast and talked about the team and the game at hand.
And if you want to hear it, make sure you go back to episode 130, it's a short little 9 minutes, something like that something like that.
Yeah,
have a listen.
Yeah, I thought I'd throw it out since not everybody watches the games or listens to the intermission either. So, if you're a new-ish listener, you can kind of go back and hear how the show started. It was neither of us that started this show, but I was at the beginning, but it was not my idea. So, so kind of covered that. And then, then I guess we discussed John Paddock's 200th win and last show. And there was a good interview with him and Dante on the pregame show of Friday game, the PA one. So I kind of clipped a little piece here, and they talked. It was quite a long interview, but this clip that I cut out was really, it really spoke to kind of where John was at just a couple of years ago last year with his health, and he basically says he's just happy to be able to still be coaching, which is once you hear him say that, it's just like, oh wow, like obviously he had a serious situation, and
it really hit home.
That's the word. That's the phrase, kind of what I was looking for.
The way nothing was said last year, and then they finally said something after the season, what was going on. Like, we didn't need to know, but it would have been nice to get an update if he was actually sick or whatever. But now hearing him actually say it, it really hit home, and I was like, wow, it's impressive that he's back coaching and doing what he's doing. Yeah,
I mean, he's been doing this for so long, a lifetime in the sport of hockey, and obviously he still loves it, right? He wouldn't be doing it especially at this level. You're on the bus and all that stuff. That's tough for an older person, right? And
it's tough for a younger person.
That too, yeah, right. So. But we'll play this clip now, and like you said, it really hits home. So good to hear from him, this side of him.
Well, I think the hockey speaks for itself, and that sort of covers it all. Like, it's never seemed like a job to me. It's never seemed like work. I mean, for sure, there's some really long hours at times. There's lots of times that you don't sleep, whether it's a big game, whether it's playoff games, whether it's the draft. There's lots of, I would say, sort of what people would look at as disruptions, but I've never looked at it as, as work. I've loved every part of it that I've been involved in, and the people that you meet and the people that you work with, and it's even with a huge amount of teams now, and basically in every league, it's still a tight group. Hockey people are, so I think that's that's really added benefit. And I want to add something that I thought about in the last couple of days about this milestone. Like for me, it's probably not even the wins as much what's happened with me in the last year with my health and stuff. Like I think as when Connor gave me the puck the other day, I didn't think of it then, but it's like the fact that I'm really grateful I'm still, not that I got the milestone, but that I'm coaching again and doing what I love.
One thing that happened this weekend was pretty cool for me is that an editor at large from the Hockey News, Ronnie Schuker, reached out and wanted to chat with me because he heard that I'm the unofficial historian and I have a collection of Pat's memorabilia and stuff. And he got a hold of me and stopped by my house, and we chatted for about an hour and found out he had press credentials to go to the Pats game. So he came to the Pats game, got to meet Chris. It kind of sort of introduced him to Rob Vanstone. So that was kind of cool. He's writing a book about traveling across all 13 provinces and territories just to kind of tell stories related to hockey and that kind of stuff. So I thought it was kind of cool. He seemed like a really nice guy.
Yeah, no, he definitely seemed like a nice guy, and that's kind of interesting. Like, and his website, when he told me his name, obviously I never heard of him or whatever. And you look at, if you Google him, like he's put out some stories here and there, but his website says, I write stories at the intersection of sports and travel. So a little bit of a different angle on sports kind of thing, right?
Yeah, he was in Maple Creek, I think he said on Saturday. And
and I should have been in Maple Creek on Saturday, actually, at that game he was at. So we missed each other on Saturday. If I would have been there, I wouldn't have been here Monday for the game. But yeah, so he's seen the.
And you might not have met him.
No, I probably wouldn't have. He said the place was packed.
But yeah, he wasn't supposed to be in Regina this weekend, but things got shifted and changed. So he ended up here. He reached out and he was hoping to get a hold of me, and it was kind of cool. And just got to chat. He talked about the Pats and my history of the Pats, like my passion for the Pats and stuff like that. And then he ended up being at the Pats game. Got to meet Chris and talk to Murray from the Leader Post, and then he talked to Rob Vanstone for a bit. So yeah, it was very cool. I'm looking forward to his book coming out. He never said when. He says he's coming back through Regina in the spring, so it's going to be a while. I think it's a process, but
yeah, those books are always a long process, right?
And it's not like he's doing a research book. It's more of
just doing storytelling.
Doing it, telling stories, actually traveling around and talking to different people, like randoms like me.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, so touch on the game in Maple Creek. It's called Battle of the Little Big Puck. So it says here, hockey game is truly a Maple Creek experience. Locals from the Nicanit First Nations and local cowboys who are or have been members of the Rodeo Association play hockey against each other. So then they play the first two periods in normal hockey gear, and then in the third period they all dress up and play, as they say, cowboys and Indians in the third period.
Indigenous people.
Indigenous. Well, this is right from their website, so
okay,
that's the word they use, like full gear, right? So, yeah, it's kind of cool. And obviously, my fiance was there. That's where she's from, and she said it was getting a little chippy, even before that, and stuff. But because these people all know each other, she said they play each other, regularly in recreational hockey and stuff, and so it was kind of getting a little chippy. But as Ronnie said, the place was packed and stuff like that. So it's an event they have every year. So it was kind of too bad I missed it, but there's lots going on here that I didn't miss. So yeah, so I guess we'll head into the next week. I mean, we've got another busy week coming up here. 3 games, quick one, Wednesday already. That'll be tomorrow. Probably listen to this on a Tuesday at the earliest. So Wednesday, Medicine Hat in town again.
Against the dreaded Medicine Hat Tigers.
Yeah, they're hot, like we said. We just seen them twice recently. gave up a pretty big lead, and then the game in Medicine Hat. John said, talked about it tonight here. He said he didn't think they just didn't play that bad. It just, I think maybe, my words now, maybe it was just the end of the road trip, and they just didn't.
Just wanted to get home.
Yeah, right. I mean, it was a tough game. He's like, just more pucks went in our net than their net, right? So, but like you said, that they're tied with the Pats. It's a crucial game. Those 4-point games. So, and they play. John said they're a young Portland team. So, like, we've seen some skill. They've got some skill. They've got some speed. And the Pats are gonna have to play up to that game if they want to come out with a victory. And then it's a home and home with Brandon, and like I said, a team below them in the standings, kind of got to capitalize. They're hanging on for their life. They're right there at 52 points. They lose both games. That's a tough blow for them. So they'll be hungry.
The Pats better be hungry too, because they need to get those ones.
I know, like these 3 games are, like, it would be really nice to see 3 wins, but that's going to be tough. Like, it's always tough to beat.
They need 2 for sure.
Yeah, they need 2.
Because the weekend after that is the death weekend.
Tough. Yeah. You need one of the Brandon game, and then you need the Medicine Hat game, right? Like, just to keep them at bay.
Yeah, because they need 2 wins. Doesn't really matter, I guess. It matters, but 2 wins out of the 3 for sure would be great. 3 would be fantastic.
Yeah. So
because the following weekend is not a good weekend.
Yeah, you got Winnipeg, Red Deer, and Saskatoon all in Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's going to be a real tough weekend. Yes,
at least there's no travel.
At least there's no travel. Yeah. I don't know what the other team's travel's like, but yeah, that's going to be a real tough weekend. So you got to kind of capitalize here on teams that are below or right at you with the standings, because you can play some top teams next weekend. They're going to be real tough games.
Yeah, the March schedule is pretty wild. They play 12 games in 25 days.
Yeah, that's basically every other day.
They need to pick up as many wins as they possibly can. So
definitely. One thing about Brandon I seen, they did it was maybe a couple weeks ago now, but they had a skills competition. I thought that was kind of cool. Something for the fans and stuff.
Yeah, the Pats did that a couple times, and it kind of went by the wayside.
Yeah, one of those things that, happened and hasn't happened for a while.
Yeah, that was back when like Jack Rodwell was here and Adam Brooks was a rookie or a second year. So it's been a while.
Yeah, early 2010s. But yeah, I don't know if I went to those or not. I can't remember. It's been a while. But
yeah, the one was part of the alumni weekend thing. So
okay,
because
yeah,
they had alumni doing the hardest shot and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, nice.
I honestly don't remember too much of it, but I do remember there was alumni and players.
Yeah, no, I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah. So I don't think I have much else. You got anything else? We miss anything? We always miss something, but we realize that after
probably.
the fact.
I don't know if they listen, but it was nice to meet Parker Berg's mom, Tammy. She stopped by to introduce herself and thank me for buying his jersey.
That's cool.
And then Braden Barnett's dad, Rob Barnett, he stopped by. He saw me sitting there waiting for you after the game as I was watching the people skating around on the ice today, and he introduced himself to me and stuff. So that's very cool.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
I don't look for accolades, but when people approach me and introduce themselves, that's really cool. Yeah. A big hello to them if they're listening. I don't know if they do, but hello.
Yeah, no, that's awesome when people go to the way to go to the way to say, hey, I enjoy reading your stuff, or you did a good job of that. That's always nice to hear.
For sure, it was nice. I was surprised. It was cool. It's yeah.
And I guess it was Family Day weekend. We kind of didn't mention that, and then all the moms got honored, and the Billet moms obviously. So that's always nice because they're kind of the backbone of stuff like Billets as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Without them, there's no junior hockey.
For sure. It was nice. It was nice to see all the moms and the Billet moms there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I guess with that, I think that's all we got. We'll see you at the rink.
Have a good one.
Bedard, right point, loading up to the circle. He shoots, scores! Number 50! Connor Bedard, 50 goals in back-to-back years. The first to do it in Pat's history since Mike Sillinger, and the ninth to do so in franchise history.